Right, there we are. Hey, you're live. Welcome one, welcome all. Hi, everybody. Bruce here, traveling with Bruce, just setting up his camera. How you doing today, everybody? Welcome to the show. Let's see if we can get our picture in just right. Not too bad. Not too bad. How's everyone doing? Welcome to the show today, May 27th, 2019. Bruce from Creston, British Columbia here on a Monday. And using my cell phone today. I hope the picture is nice and clear. It looks pretty good. Kind of like what I see here. Welcome to the show, and I hope you had a good weekend. We had some fun here on Saturday. I don't know if you joined us or if you've seen it since, but Steamer and I were hanging out on Saturday. Pardon me one sec, folks. Steamer and I were hanging out on Saturday. We're enjoying ourselves here on the show. And we had some trivia going, and it all went well. It was nice to have him by. I want to thank him for joining with me. We had some good laughs there. Let's see here, making sure my picture is pretty good. I'm looking at my own computer, and it doesn't look too bad. I got 26 of you here so far. You're coming in. Welcome all to the show. I now see 30 of you here. Fantastic. Already got 8 thumbs ups. 9. Thank you for thumbs ups. Keep them coming, folks. I need all the thumbs ups I can get. I did a video yesterday, and that's going to lead off my news story of the day. I did a video about the Carnival Splendor out of Long Beach. The ship ran into technical problems back on Saturday. It was supposed to leave port on Saturday for Mexico. And it didn't happen. The ship came in, I guess, on very early Saturday morning or late Friday night from its latest trip to Mexico and back. Offloaded all of its passengers Saturday morning, then allowed all its next group of passengers to board all morning Saturday until probably they were ready to roll at 2 or 3, 4 in the afternoon. But I guess what happened was sometime in the afternoon, the captain made an announcement that they were having a technical, and when I say technical, I mean like a technical problem with the propulsion system, as in the engine is not working, and they had to bring a technician in apparently. So they were flying a technician in. I don't know from where, but I'm going to guess from Miami, from home port headquarters, and the ship basically was moved probably by tugboats over towards another part of the Long Beach harbor. Next morning, Sunday morning, when people woke up, they were still in Long Beach. The whole afternoon and evening Saturday, everything was running on the ship as far as electronics goes. The plumbing systems were working, the kitchens are going, the bars were up, the music was playing, the pools were working. Everything was working as far as the hotel features go, but the ship wasn't going anywhere. And it was Sunday in the latter part of the day that the ship was beginning to move again, and she left Long Beach basically 24 hours after she was supposed to. That unfortunately meant that the cruise now would still be a 7-day cruise. Technically, you'd stay on board 7 nights, but you're not going to get 7 days of sailing in 6 days. And so the ship, the cruise line, they decided on Saturday already that they were going to drop Mazatlan from their itinerary. So the ship would only hit Cabo San Lucas and Puerto Vallarta. And they gave the passengers, I think, a credit against the port charges for Mazatlan. I don't know if they gave the passengers any other kind of a credit. I may have read somewhere it was a $50 credit as an inconvenience fee. I don't know. But the ship is running at 20 knots last I saw, heading down the Baja Peninsula. And she will be either in Cabo tomorrow morning, or she'll continue right on to Puerto Vallarta, do Puerto Vallarta, then Cabo on the way back perhaps, and then back to LA. I don't know the exact routine, the itinerary. I'm not on board. And if anyone does know, let me know, and I'll pass the word on. But that was the story that broke. I did a video on that, and the video's done rather well, and I want to thank those of you who watched it. Those of you who've given it a thumbs up, so I appreciate that very much. And a bunch of you shared it. Thank you for sharing that video. That's really helped my channel the last 24 hours pick up a bit of steam. Other news, Carnival has made a deal The Carnival Corporation, the lawyers for Carnival, have made a deal with the U.S. Justice Department on June the 3rd. That is not tomorrow, but a week tomorrow. There will be a hearing in Miami with the head management of Carnival, and its lawyers are brought into the courthouse to meet the federal judge that has threatened the cruise line with suspension of rights to dock at U.S. ports because of a violation of a plea agreement that the company agreed to back in 2016 with regard to dumping in the oceans. Apparently, a deal has been negotiated between the Justice Department, the lawyers for the government, and the company. And they are going to present their, I think they've already presented the negotiated settlement to the judge. And the judge now will rule on this offer of settlement or whatever it is on the 3rd of June. So we don't know what's in the settlement. We don't know what it is, but I can pretty well guess this much. If the cruise line and the Justice Department have come up with an agreed settlement deal, I can pretty well tell you that there is no way that the company is being banned from docking at U.S. ports. The company would never agree to something like that up and out. They'd fight it in court all the way to the Supreme Court. So I suspect that there's a monetary deal, or a number has come up. They've come up with a monetary amount. They've come up with punitive damages. They've come up with remedies, more remedies than anything else, and that the company will promise to, to be good. Whatever the deal is, the lawyers for the United States, acting on behalf of the Justice Department, they're happy with it. They seem to be satisfied. They agreed to the deal. They're happy to present it to the judge, and now the judge will be able to rule on whether this is an acceptable deal. Now, I suspect it's possible that the judge will likely still use this opportunity to scold them severely for past violations, and they will take the opportunity to apologize and offer mea culpas for these violations having taken place, and promise they're cleaning up their act and they won't do this again. We'll see what kind of a show it is versus what the settlement offer is really going to be all about. So we'll see what that's like. A week from Monday, we'll find out. All right. So there you go. That's the latest on that front. See what comes of it. Anyway, welcome to the show. Welcome to my channel. There isn't that much else going on. It's Memorial Day in the USA. There's a talk about small talk going on about how busy it's going to be in Alaska this year, how busy it's going to be in New England this year for cruising. There are ports in Europe talking about record numbers this year. All a direct result of the fact that there are going to be 30 million passengers taking cruises this year in 2019 versus last year 27.5 roughly million. So when you add 2.5 million more passengers to the cruise line capacity, well, of course, you're going to have record cruise numbers. I mean, it's just obvious. I think Vancouver, British Columbia is bragging about their having record numbers. The story out of Vancouver this morning, I read a headline that says something like, for every cruise ship that turns over in the port of Vancouver, right downtown at Canada Place, it means that $3 million is being added to the Vancouver economy for every ship turnaround in Vancouver. You can pretty well say the same thing for Seattle and anywhere else in the country. Vancouver, though, had 4 ships the other day turn over, so $12 million in one day. Yeah, Vancouver is addicted to cruise ship money. The problem Vancouver has, unfortunately, is that it can't handle the biggest ships in the fleets. They'd make even more money, and they've basically lost that right now to Seattle. Seattle's got the exclusive, the 4 big ships right now that are using Seattle as her home base for Alaska cruises are making Seattle a ton of money, probably more than $3 million a pop, to turn those over with the fuel, the food, and all the provisions they need. Yeah, good money, very good money. And of course, the city of Seattle loving it. The airport's busy, the hotels are busy, the car rental agencies, all the merchants in the downtown area, passengers who choose to come in the day before, spend the night in Seattle, hanging around the restaurants, the Starbucks coffee shops, all of them. I'm sure they're all just loving the fact that this is going to be a record season for Alaska cruising. It's doing, it's really good business for Seattle. Anyway, it's good business no matter where cruise ships come into. It's just a matter of, can the cities handle the traffic, and can they handle the logistics? And will cities do what many cities have begun to do, and that is offer ship-to-shore power. In other words, allow cruise ships to dock and then shut their engines off and be connected electronically by electronic cable to the power grid, so that they don't have to keep burning their engines while they're sitting in the harbor for 10, 12 hours. That would be a good thing. It's being done in Alaska. It's being done in Juneau right now. It's going to be expanded in other ports in Alaska. That's a very good thing. I think it should be global. I would like to see it become global. We'll have to see how that works itself out. How many are here? 68. 68 of you are here. Thank you. 25 thumbs up so far. Thank you for that. Say hi to me if you've never been here before. If you are joining me for the first time, I welcome you to the show, the channel. We love talking about cruise ship news, what's going on out there right now. Love to find out from you folks out there what's happening in the world of cruising, what's going on with you and your travails. Are you hearing any rumors about the cruise business? Let me know. Love to talk about that. I was looking at something, one more thing I'll mention. I was looking at something that just before I came on the air that I was kind of curious about. Hi, Robert Hill and Paul. Hey, Robert and Paul, welcome. I was going to mention this. Today, 2019, if you have a relative that is going on a cruise in the Caribbean or Alaska or Europe, doesn't matter, worldwide, and you need to get them an urgent message. I mean, really urgent, life and death. The first thing you'd probably do is reach for your phone. That's the first thing you'd probably do, is just reach for your phone. Second thing you do is reach for your computer, and you would send an email or a text. Try a phone call, even if they're on the ship in the Atlantic, whatever. You try that first. Second thing, what would you do if you can't reach your loved one on a phone because they put the phone in their ship's vault? You would try to get a hold of the cruise line. And of course, the beauty of today's telecommunication system is you can make an 800 call to the cruise line. You can identify yourself to the people at the cruise line, tell them what the situation is, where your loved one, what ship they're on, what the message is. You're trying to get them an emergency, urgent message. The cruise line can send a message directly to the cruise ship through wireless communication, probably an email right to either the ship's captain or the communications department, and then they can get a message to the passenger pretty quickly. I would think within 30 minutes to an hour, a message can be sent directly to the person you're trying to reach via the ship's staff. But I would say most communications nowadays, with wireless communication available, wireless internet plans now becoming the norm on cruise ships, more and more people will keep their cell phones on at all times, keep them with them at all times, and you could probably just send a text or an email to your loved one instantly. Now, go back 100 years to 1919, which kind of blows my mind that 1919 is 100 years ago. I was born in 55, and I can't believe 1919 is 100 years ago, because 1955 isn't that much longer. That's what bugs me about this. Anyway, 1919, you want to get a message to a loved one on board an ocean liner in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Telegram. You would have sent a telegram. You'd have gone to your Western Union office. Say it's the U.S., someone's traveling to England, or someone's coming from England back to the U.S. You would go to your Western Union go to your Western Union telegraph office, and you would send a telegram to the ship. And it would be a bit of a logistical scenario, because if you were in, say you're in St. Louis, the middle of the country, a telegram would probably go to New York. The telegram would then be relayed from New York to Cunard. Let's say it's a Cunard cruise ship line. And the Cunard line might send it direct to its own ship or to London through wire and then backwards. I'm not quite sure the logistic of it, but it was a complicated situation. It could be done, but it was complicated. But what I found, I was trying to find out the pricing for this. I was having trouble finding how much would this cost. And I'll give it to you this way: a fortune is the answer. But I will say this much: I found an advertisement on Google about an hour ago. I was looking on Google doing some research trying to dig this up. I found an ad that Western Union ran in 1939 offering a telegram special offer for Americans sending telegraph messages within the U.S. It was a 1939 ad, and 15 words came in at 35 cents. So for 35 cents, you could send a 15-word telegraph message to a loved one within the U.S. to any other Western Union office. Today, that is $18. Just think about that, spending $18 today to send a 15-word message just within the U.S. Forget about international, forget about ship to shore, shore to ship, forget about that. Just within the U.S., you think about that. How many messages would we be sending a year to anyone if those are the kind of costs we were looking for? We are so spoiled in this modern day world of ours. Even I, at my age, I should know better. I really should be giggling or snickering every time I send a text message to my daughter with an emoji, or I send a photo of myself to my cousin in Dortmund, Germany, for nothing. I should be chortling all the way to the bank because of just how cheap it is today versus just 20, 30, 50 years ago, 100 years ago. Unthinkable to do anything like that. 15 words for $18. Oh my gosh. And of course, when the telegraph guy arrived, you usually gave him a tip. Of course, in the 40s, unfortunately, during war, the sight of a telegram delivery boy coming to your house was not what you wanted to see. You did not want a telegram coming to your home during the Second World War if you had a loved one serving overseas. That's the last thing you wanted. The romance was gone at that point with regard to telegrams and telegraphs. But after the war, telegrams were still being used, but they were on the decline. 1929 was the height, the absolute height of telegraph sending. 200 million a year were being sent by Americans in 1929. After 29, the number began to drop. Economically, we had the Depression, and then by the 30s and 40s, the telephone took over, and it was a lot cheaper to actually make a telephone call to someone rather than a telegram. It's quite a change in technology. Today, of course, it's all the cell phone, it's all email, it's all text messages, and it is dirt cheap compared to what it was. It's unbelievable. Anyway, the telegram, I think I want to do a little video about that. I got to do some more research, though, about how that worked and how that was put together. Anyway, there you are. Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm glad you're here today. It's Monday, a holiday for most of you in the USA. Here in Canada, it's a regular Monday. We had last Monday off. Today is a regular Monday here. Worldwide, I don't quite know what the situation is in Europe and elsewhere, but welcome to all of you from around the world who watch me. I very much appreciate you coming by. It's great to see viewers from Australia, from Britain, the United Kingdom, basically all over Europe, from Australia, New Zealand, USA, the Caribbean, Canada. Welcome one, welcome all. Like I said, if you've never been here before, please say hi to me. Tell me where you watching me from. Where are you? Let us know where you are at. What's your high temperature today? Are you getting summer where you are? Here in Creston, British Columbia, where I am in Canada, 3 miles north of the Idaho border, I am happy to report we've got summertime temperatures here. We're in the low 70s, which is quite comfortable. We are expected to hit the 80s later this week, which will be kind of a nice thing. We're kind of looking forward to it. Again, welcome one and welcome all to the PG-rated Traveling with Bruce channel. I do the best I can with what I got. All right, welcome one, everybody. Let me say hi to everybody, and please say hi to me, and let's go visit with each other. If you have any comments, let me know. Vivian is here from the UK. Welcome, Vivian. I'm so glad you're here. Sylvia is here from Carolina. Thank you, Sylvia, from Greensboro, North Carolina, to be exact. Who else have I got here? Mark Dirksen is here from the Big Apple. Tom Henry from Richmond, Virginia. I know these folks, where they're from, because they're regulars, and they're here all the time. I love it. So glad you guys are here to join me today and hang out with Traveling with Bruce. Wish I could get my big-ass iPad to work properly today. It's having troubles. Let's see if we can get it going. Here we are. Linda Lou is here. Welcome from Reno, Linda Lou. 55 degrees in Reno. Yeah, a little better. At least that's not quite as bad as it's been. You know, take little victories. I'm just trying to move my my iPad within range here so that I don't look too far away from the camera when I'm trying to read these messages. Let's see if I can set this up here. It is having issues. Alrighty, who have I got here? Alan Carter from Calgary. Welcome, Alan Carter. Let's see here. Tom Henry, of course, Linda, Vivian, Sylvia. Paul Wilgus is in the house. Welcome, Paul Wilgus. Cool Jazz from New York. Welcome, Cool Jazz. Brittany Lockwood from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Welcome, Brittany. Sherry, Awesome Sunsets Travel. How you doing, Sherry? By the way, tomorrow, with all of our might, my special guest tomorrow will be Sherry, Awesome Sunsets Travel at 5 o'clock Eastern. We're crossing our fingers. We're trying to set up connections. We're going to practice again tonight, I think, to try and make sure we can connect. And on Thursday, join me live for Sherry from Cruise Tips TV. She will join me Thursday. I think we're on at 3 Eastern. I'll know for sure later tonight, tomorrow, and I'll broadcast that starting tomorrow. But Sherry from Cruise Tips TV will be my guest on Thursday, and I have Sherry's Awesome Sunsets Travel with me tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to that. Who else have I got in the house? Glenn Edinburgh from Brisbane, Australia. Welcome, Glenn, to the show. Megan Frost is here. How you doing, Megan? Welcome back. Kat Rose is here from, I believe, Sacramento. SFL Spotter is here. Hello there. Jim Evans is here. Welcome, Jim. Who else have I got in this house? Kelly Haston, I see there. Who else do we have here? P. Mills. Welcome, P. Mills, to the show. BR is here. Bon Mati is here. Welcome, Bon Mati. I can't breathe the last name. Who else? Ronald Tucker is here. Hi, Bruce, and everybody in the chat room. Welcome, Ronald. Wendy Thompson. Hello, Wendy Thompson from the Ocala, Florida area. 102, she says. Oh, my gosh. You've got the heat and humidity, I'm sure. Welcome to the show today. Who else do I have here? Paul Callahan. Hello. How you doing? Robert Hill. Hello. Welcome, Spy Team. Hello from Minnesota. Megan Frost, guys, hit the thumbs ups for Bruce. Sylvan is in the house. It's 92 in Delray Beach. Sunny, cigar, libation in hand. Thumbs ups for everybody. Dinner tonight, Irish stew and strawberries for dessert. Fantastic, sir. That will be pretty darn nice. You can't beat that. Who else have I got here today with me? Oh my gosh, my iPad is really acting up. That's surprising. Paul Wilgus, Tom, Atlanta the Brave is here. Welcome, Atlanta the Brave. Born in 72, he says. Glenn Edinburgh, I was born in 71. Spy Team, I was born in 54. Oh my gosh. Let's see, who else? Robert Hill, born in 51. Linda Lou, born in 56. Let's go through here. Paul Callahan, born in 72. Oh my gosh. We got baby boomers here, that's for sure. Let's see here. Who else have we got? Any more names that I haven't seen so far? Welcome one. Welcome all. Cruising with Wheels are here. Hey, hi Bruce. Sitting here editing and listening to you. Welcome. Is that you? Is that you, Frank? Or is that you, Frank? I'm not sure. Welcome. Welcome to the show. I know the gang will welcome you for sure. Chuck Gaynor. I just returned from a repositioning cruise, and the cabin steward and the dining staff told me they were only paid from gratuities. Is that true? What cruise line were you on? That would be very interesting, Chuck. I'm generally, from what I know of how cruise members are paid, especially those in the serving, the waiters, the service, so on. Those folks generally have a base salary, not all that much. It might be $800 a month, $600 a month, but includes the room and the board and flight home and back before and after contract, and then gratuities beyond that. I would think, though, that majority of their revenue, a majority would be gratuity related. That's my guess. I did know personally a worker on a cruise ship that was a performer. He was one of the dancers. And he eventually met his wife of today on one of these cruises. The two of them, they were earning a salary, and they were not getting tip money additionally. They were not getting gratuities. They were just getting their salary. Believe that their salary would have been in the $2,000 to $2,400 a month range US. That was going up as each contract was being negotiated. And I know that they knew other performers who were either singers and dancers. They were making closer to $3,000 a month. Some were making closer to $4,000 a month. And then, of course, you had the special headliners who were being brought in that were making even more than that. And they were getting real cabin accommodation rather than down below accommodation, this type of thing. But as far as the support staff goes down below, they are, I believe, making most of their revenues from gratuities. And your room steward, your cabin steward, so appreciates when you give them cash tips. That is a huge, huge deal for these folks. Because a majority of the revenues that they generate are sent back home to family and relatives to help support the household. Anyway, Chuck, interesting comment. I'd love to know what cruise line you're on. Let's see here. Let's go through here. Everyone's saying hi to Cruising with Wheels, and Cruising with Wheels sending salutations the other direction. Nancy Adams is here. Welcome, Nancy. Steve Stair is here. Michigan, 70 degrees. Who else is here? Let's see here. Going through all the names. Robert Hill again and Paul Willigas. Raymond Kuntz is here. I'm watching you from the Virgin Islands. Welcome, Raymond. Nancy Adams was saying that Jaco is here from the Netherlands. It's raining again in the Netherlands. It's just unbelievable. Welcome, Jaco. Nurse Nancy's in the house. Welcome, Nurse Nancy. Who else do I have in the house? Say hi to me, folks. Tell me where you're watching me from. What's your high temperature today? Let's go through. Donnell is here from Ireland. Welcome, Donnell, from Cork, Ireland today, as always. Nice to have you by. Edward Mullen. Hi, Bruce, from Grayson, Georgia. 91 here. Gas, $2.43 a gallon. Welcome, Edward. Who else do I have? It's Kevin. Cruising Wheel says it's Kevin. Frank is filming a Frank's Cooking Corner right now. Welcome, Kevin, to the show from Cruising with Wheels. Fantastic, sir. I figure, yeah, you got a day off today, right? So, yeah, right on. All right. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the show today, Kevin. Let's see. Oh, congratulations on 9,000 subscribers. Well done, you guys. 9,000 subs. Way to go. I also saw our friends at the Lido, Lido Loca, they were talking about hitting 4 million views. They cracked 4 million views. Way to go. That is fantastic. The channels are growing out there in the cruise sector. It's fantastic. We're all growing. Who else we got? Tom Henry is saying hello, everybody. Tracy Smith. Hi, Bruce and all. Happy Memorial Day. Thank you, Tracy. And I think I've caught everybody. Dimitri is here. Hello, my liberal friend from Canada. Welcome one, welcome all. Liberals, conservatives, I don't care. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the channel. I'm glad you're here and you're joining us live on Memorial Day. 65 of you have survived the introductions. 42 thumbs ups today. Thank you all for that. Cheers to all of you from the TWB family here out of Creston, British Columbia, Canada. So glad you could make it and pop in and see me. Like I say, I don't have a heck of a lot of news today to talk to you about. Really, if there's any comments or questions, please, by the way, let me know. I'd be very curious to know what cruise line was not paying their staff wages only tips. That I've never heard of that before. I've not ever heard of that. I did read the other day about, I think it was MSC, and I know other cruise lines, they have what are known as training centers in various centers around the world to train staff before they are brought on board ships. They also have to show that they can cut it as well. They have to have the right personality and the right temperament and that type of thing. And I know in the Philippines there are training centers for a number of the cruise lines, especially Carnival. I think they set one up decades ago to get their staff trained and handled, be able to handle the ship life. My personal contact, a person that I know personally that was a dancer on the ship, he tried for a number of years to get on board. He was from Calgary, and he had been dancing for years, took dance lessons all of his life, was involved in a number of dance companies, had performed in front of audiences for 10, 12 years. He was approaching 22, 23 years of age, and tried to become, went aggressively hard to become hired by a cruise line, and did get hired by one of the majors, and had to of course sign a contract and then go for basically training is not the right word, but for rehearsals, and had to go to a center, a specific center where they would have rehearsals just for the dance crews, and would have to learn their routines. They would be performing at least 4 or 5 nights per week on stage, and they were per show they might have 2 or 3 costume changes, 2 or 3 different production numbers. It might be like a Hollywood musical night, and then there might be another version the next night. They had to learn 6 or 8 different choreograph numbers per cruise, and then when the contract was up, he'd get a month off. He'd be on a 6-month contract, get a month off, and then back to training, back to the office to rehearse again for 2 or 3 weeks solid to learn the next series of numbers for the next cruise they were going on. And what he did was he would he would be given a selection of cruise ships he could pick from within the cruise line. And he would look at the itineraries where these ships were headed, and then he would pick the itinerary he would want to go on for the next contract. And that would usually be for the expiry of the contract he would be on. And so he would, in those days, he would be talking to his mom and dad, and he'd be, and later on, he and his gal would be commiserating, and they would together pick the ship they would both be on together for the next contract. And the cruise line didn't mind that a bit, because having these two together meant that they would fulfill the contract by being together for the entire time. Couples are much more stable on board ships than singles, and especially in the performing area. And so they would pick their next itinerary, and of course he would mix it up. He had the itinerary in the Caribbean, then he picked an itinerary in the Mediterranean, then picked an itinerary in, say, the British Isles and the Baltic, picked an itinerary perhaps in the Australia Ridge. I mean, they had their, where do you want to be for the next 6 months? And they would figure out where the ship was going, and they would then pick out what itinerary they'd want, and then go for the contract for that cruise. Very exciting. At that age, without children, not married yet, man, you had it all, and you made friends around the world, of course, with your fellow performers, crew members, and then you'd meet people on shore, because you would be you might be in the Bahamas, or you might be in Grand Cayman, or you might be in Cozumel or Costa Maya 10 times in 3 months, 12 times, whatever number of cruises you took. And same thing in the Mediterranean cities. And so you'd frequent certain bars and restaurants as performers. You'd have your favorite haunts. When you had shore time, you'd go to your favorite places on shore, hang out and enjoy, and you get to know the owners of the restaurants, or the bartenders, or the staff, whatever, and they got to know you, because they know, yeah, you're coming by here next week, we'll see you next week on your next stop. And they would bring friends and family along. So yeah, pretty cool way to travel, and interesting way to build up relationships. Quite an amazing life. It's a whole lot of life. Of course, my friend, the dancer, was making far more money on board the ship than the rest of the staff, the majority of the staff. You had your hierarchy, you had your officers, you had your engineers, department heads, the performers, and then you had your stewards, and you had your cooks, and you had your janitorial, and down the line. And he was in the top probably 10 to 15% on board the ship, maybe even top 10% for what kind of wages they were getting. And they had a little more spending money to spend on, and they also had more shore privileges. And so he did spend money on shore from time to time. But he and his gal, who are now married, had a wonderful time of it, enjoyed it immensely. I think 6 or 7 years they spent on board with this one cruise line, which will remain nameless at this point to protect his identity, because I know he doesn't want to be mentioned in person. But it is an interesting world. Anyway, there you go. Let's see who else has popped in here just in the last few minutes. Make sure I'm all caught up with you guys. There we go. Donnell, Nurse Nancy, love Wales, so green and lush. Vivian is saying hi. Edward Mullen, if I wanted to put a care package together for our room steward, do you have any suggestions? Edward Mullen, you want to put a care package? Well, keep in mind that they cannot travel with a lot of stuff. I mean, they have such a small quarter where they live down below, they really don't have a lot of space. Not like you have. Your cabin might be tiny for you, but it's luxurious compared to what they're looking at downstairs. The care package, cash. It's called CASH, money. Give him money, money, money. Let him figure out what he wants, or let her figure out what she wants. They can buy whatever they need on board the ship for their personal needs, but they will probably use the opportunity to send whatever cash you give them. They'll send it back home where it can do a lot more good than giving them some kind of a trinket. They don't need a trinket. They need cash. So really, that's what I would recommend. My personal guess. They don't need food. They don't need dessert. They don't need alcoholic anything. They have everything they need downstairs at crew prices. So it's not uncommon for them to be able to buy a beer for $1. You're paying $8. They're paying $1. Give them cash. Really, it's the way to go. Let's see here. Paul is talking. Sylvia's here. Cool Jazz. Donnell, Tracy Smith, hello Frank and Kevin, Nurse Nancy, Edward, I know that a couple of people suggest cash only. We have given away candy bars and other small types of consumable gifts that don't need special care or refrigeration. Sylvan, give your room steward money. They have no space in their little cabins for knickknacks. See, money is always welcome. Paul Wilgus, Edward, most people I know that do that usually give them assorted food snacks from the area they live in. But Linda Lou agrees with Silva and give them cash. Fatima, hi Bruce, hi Fatima. Nurse Nancy, hi there, dear Fatima. Vivian, give them the cash. They love money. That's right, give them cash. Nancy, tip stewards at the beginning each day or at the end of the cruise. I usually do the end of the cruise. Linda Lou had a cabin steward tell me they like snacks. They love snacks. Aisling Kane, good evening. Hi, Aisling. Nurse Nancy, we usually do the end of the cruise. Nancy, I know it varies from there. Fatima, hi, Nurse Nancy. Vivian, I give them both snacks and cash. Donnell, I was watching Air Force One on TV, but the signal went, so now I'm giving this show my undivided attention. Donnell, I don't want to spoil it for you, but Harrison Ford lives. He survives at the end of the show. They can't afford to kill him off in the middle of the movie. It's too expensive. All right. Let's see. Cruel Jazz, Bruce, did you know Coeur d'Alene has river cruises? Did not know. Never investigated it. I haven't never ever looked. What do we got here? Vivian, it surely does, my sweetie pie. Nurse Nancy, oh, the pressure is on now for Bruce, Donnell, says Nurse Nancy to Donnell. Tom Henry, Vivian, at the beginning with a comment, more to come if things work well, helps with the service level. Nancy Adams, yep, Nurse Nancy, thinking I might do daily tip for the July cruise. Let's go here. Everyone's agreeing with cash to the steward. Absolutely, give him cash. Bruce could take a river cruise and report that live, says Sylvia. Oh, thanks. Vivian, I gave my steward 3 days into the cruise, couldn't stand those puppy eyes. I gave him money. Chuck Gaynor, 14 days on the Independence of the Seas, and I lost weight. The portions are too small. Oh, isn't that something, Chuck? Very interesting. Let's go here. Tom Henry, Donnell, I was watching the second Independence Day Return of the Aliens and had to switch to TWB before the final battle. The stars survive. Don't worry, the stars all survive. Snack with money attached, says Linda Lou. Vivian, had one waiter blew me kisses, laughing out loud, says Vivian. He was so happy to get